Across the globe, the approach of a new year is a moment of anticipation, reflection, and celebration, uniting people across cultures, climates, and continents. Whether under the warm sun of tropical beaches or the frosty expanse of snow-covered cities, humanity collectively turns its attention to the passing of time, marking the transition from the old to the new with rituals, ceremonies, and festive displays. The universality of this experience highlights a shared human desire, hope, renewal, and the promise of a fresh start, a theme that transcends geography, language, and tradition. The concept of time itself shapes how New Year's Eve is celebrated. Civil calendars, lunar cycles, and seasonal markers influence when and how communities gather. In countries adhering to the Gregorian calendar, December 31st represents the culmination of a solar year, prompting synchronized countdowns and fireworks displays at midnight. In contrast, cultures that follow lunar or lunisolar calendars, such as China, Vietnam, and Korea, celebrate the new year at varying dates, often in late January or February, reflecting astronomical observation, agricultural cycles, and historical continuity. Despite these differences, the emotional resonance, the excitement of transition, and the shared longing for prosperity remains remarkably consistent. Urban centers across the world transform into epicenters of festivity. Cities like New York, London, Tokyo, and Sydney prepare months in advance for public celebrations, coordinating elaborate fireworks, music, and light shows. The iconic ball drop in Times Square, the synchronized pyrotechnics over Sydney Harbor, and the illuminated skylines of Dubai all serve as cultural beacons, drawing locals and tourists into a shared spectacle that merges civic pride with global recognition. Streets, squares, and public spaces become stages where human connection, joy, and collective anticipation are enacted in real time. Yet New Year's Eve is not solely an urban phenomenon. In rural regions and small towns, the emphasis often shifts to community and family-centered rituals, blending the public and private dimensions of celebration. Bonfires, street music, and local fireworks accompany communal meals, dances, and storytelling, maintaining social cohesion and the transmission of cultural memory. In these contexts, the celebration of the new year becomes a multi-generational affair, where traditions are actively taught, observed, and adapted to contemporary life. Food and ritual hold a particularly prominent role in New Year's observances worldwide. Across Europe, Asia, Africa, and the Americas, symbolic dishes are prepared to attract fortune, health, and love. In Spain, the tradition of consuming 12 grapes at midnight represents hope and prosperity for each month of the coming year, while in Italy, lentils symbolize wealth and abundance. In parts of Latin America, legumes, rice, or hopping John in the southern United States serve a similar purpose, anchoring abstract hopes for the future in tangible, shared experiences of taste and preparation. These culinary practices transform the ephemeral passage of time into a ritualized, sensory engagement, binding individuals to culture, history, and each other. Music and song amplify the emotional landscape of New Year's Eve. Traditional chants, folk songs, modern pop, and electronic music all converge to create auditory markers of transition, signaling the approach of midnight and heightening collective anticipation. In Japan, the ringing of temple bells 108 times, known as Joya no Kane, symbolizes the purging of worldly desires, blending spiritual reflection with ritualized sound. In Brazil, festive samba and tropical rhythms animate beaches, while in Scotland, the traditional singing of Auld Lang Syne unites families and communities in a poignant act of remembrance and hope. These musical expressions, whether solemn or exuberant, transform the abstract passage of time into a tangible, participatory experience, reinforcing social bonds and cultural continuity. Fireworks are arguably the most universal symbol of New Year's celebration, bridging visual spectacle with emotional intensity. Across continents, pyrotechnics illuminate night skies, synchronizing communities in a shared sensory experience that marks the precise moment of transition. Fireworks serve multiple functions. They dazzle and delight, scare away evil spirits according to certain cultural beliefs, and signify the brilliance and potential of a new year. From the frozen expanses of Moscow to the tropical shores of Rio de Janeiro, These displays are as much about communal joy as they are about personal reflection, offering a collective canvas for human expression. Superstitions and symbolic acts further enrich the tapestry of global New Year's rituals. Many cultures incorporate physical gestures and charms intended to influence luck, love, health, and wealth. Jumping over waves in coastal Brazil, wearing colored underwear in Latin America, or performing first footing in Scotland illustrates how humans interact with the abstract concept of time through tangible, embodied action. These customs are often passed orally and through participation, embedding ethical and cultural instruction into playful, memorable acts. Travel, migration, and global media have also interconnected local traditions, creating hybrid celebrations that combine ancestral practices with international spectacle. Diaspora communities observe traditional rituals while adopting local customs, blending fireworks, carols, food, and music from multiple cultural origins. Cities host international themed events, integrating diverse traditions into public programming that reflects both cosmopolitan identity and respect for heritage. These hybrid practices underscore the adaptability of human celebration and the enduring relevance of ritual in marking temporal transitions. Despite cultural and geographical differences, New Year's Eve worldwide embodies a remarkable convergence of human desire, hope for renewal, gratitude for the past, and aspiration for prosperity. Whether enacted through family dinners, public concerts, spiritual reflection, or elaborate fireworks, the essence of the celebration is universal. Humans, regardless of environment or heritage, instinctively mark the passage of time with acts that connect community, memory, and imagination, transforming the abstract into lived, meaningful experience. In addition to urban, rural, and coastal settings, natural phenomena play a subtle but impactful role. In some northern countries, auroras, snow, and the longest nights inform reflective and cozy rituals, while in tropical regions, balmy air, starlit beaches, and the sound of waves frame communal gatherings. These environmental conditions influence clothing, timing, and sensory perception, integrating landscape and climate into the cultural enactment of time, demonstrating the intimate relationship between humans and their at its core. The global New Year countdown is a collective performance of temporal awareness, where precise moments, the striking of midnight, the final chime of bells, or the synchronized detonation of fireworks, act as pivot points for human imagination and emotion. Communities across continents orchestrate these events meticulously, combining music, light, ritual, and narrative to mark the threshold between past and future. In doing so, they reinforce both individual and collective identity, transforming the passage of time into a shared, meaningful spectacle. Ultimately, the universality of New Year celebrations highlights the shared humanity of temporal transition. Across continents, climates, and cultures, people gather to observe, celebrate, and anticipate the multiplicity of rituals from fire, music, and dance to food. Superstition and reflection demonstrates that while specific practices differ, the underlying human impulse remains constant: to honor the past, embrace the present, and hope for the future. The global countdown is not merely a moment in time, but a living expression of connection, renewal, and joy, uniting humanity in anticipation and celebration. Europe offers a stunning diversity of New Year's celebrations, each shaped by centuries of history, religious influence, and local culture. From the snow-covered plazas of northern cities to sunlit Mediterranean towns, Europeans welcome the new year with a combination of culinary rituals, fireworks, music, and community gatherings, creating a rich tapestry of festive expression. In Spain, the countdown to midnight is marked by the tradition of eating 12 grapes, one at each chime of the clock. Each grape symbolizes a month of good fortune in the coming year, and the practice requires both focus and skill. Families and friends gather in living rooms or town squares, participating together, and the ritual is often accompanied by toasts, music, and celebration. The act is simple, yet profound, reinforcing communal participation and shared hope. Italy shares similar culinary symbolism, with lentils served at midnight to signify wealth and prosperity. In some regions, cotequino, a spiced pork sausage, is paired with the lentils to embody abundance, and fireworks illuminate city squares, signaling the transition. Italian celebrations combine domestic intimacy with public spectacle, blending family-centered ritual, culinary practice, and visual display. France emphasizes both culinary and festive ornamentation. Urban centers host fireworks and public events, while families prepare rich feasts, including dishes like foie gras, oysters, and galette des arts. Candles, music, and communal dining underscore the values of togetherness, reflection, and celebration, illustrating the interplay between private observance and public festivity. In Germany, New Year's Eve, or Silvester, blends fireworks, social gatherings, and symbolic culinary acts. Traditional practices include lead pouring black, where molten lead is poured into cold water, and the resulting shapes are interpreted to predict the future. Feasts of pork, lentils, and pastries symbolize prosperity, abundance, and good luck, while midnight fireworks and music transform public squares into vibrant, shared state. The Netherlands features unique traditions like oliebollen, deep-fried dough balls often eaten during New Year's Eve, symbolizing prosperity and indulgence. Fireworks are ubiquitous, and communal celebrations in city centers reinforce social bonds and shared experience. Music, dance, and symbolic acts intertwine to heighten the emotional impact of temporal transition. Across Europe, common themes emerge: the use of food as symbolic medium, the role of fire and fireworks as markers of transition and protection, and the emphasis on community participation, whether through grape-eating, lentil rituals, pastry baking, or pyrotechnics. Europeans embody the hope and intention behind each New Year's celebration in tangible, performative acts. Each practice teaches values of preparation, focus, and communal engagement, ensuring cultural transmission and continuity. Fireworks, in particular, unite the continent in a shared sensory experience. Cities large and small host pyrotechnic displays, sometimes accompanied by music, dancing, and communal singing. Fireworks function both as spectacle and as a ritual of protection, historically believed to ward off evil spirits while visually marking the passage of time. Across urban and rural areas, this display creates collective art, linking disparate communities in a shared temporal and emotional moment. Music and celebration vary regionally, but serve a similar function: to heighten anticipation, synchronize communal activity, and embed meaning. Carols, folk songs, and modern music accompany gatherings, processions, and fireworks, connecting participants across ages and reinforcing cultural and familial bonds. The combination of auditory, visual, and tactile experience ensures that the new year is not only observed, but felt deeply, embedding ritual into memory. These European practices highlight the integration of sensory experience, symbolic action, and communal participation. The 12 grapes, the lentils, the oliebollen, and the fireworks are not simply festive. They are cultural instruments, conveying centuries of history, belief, and social cohesion. Through these rituals, communities express both continuity and renewal, marking the threshold between past and future with intentionality and care. Ultimately, Europe exemplifies how New Year's Eve combines domestic intimacy with public spectacle, symbolic food with shared celebration, and individual reflection with communal joy. Across the continent, humans mark time not just with clocks, but with acts of participation, meaning, and tradition, ensuring that the new year arrives with both celebration and cultural resonance. Across the Americas, New Year's Eve is a diverse celebration shaped by geography, climate, culture, and centuries of historical influence, from the snowy cities of Canada and the United States to the sun-soaked beaches of Brazil and the Caribbean. Communities welcome the new year with a mixture of cultural symbolism, festive, spectacle, and communal participation. Each country brings its own flavor to the transition, blending indigenous practices, colonial heritage, and contemporary celebration into unique regional expressions. In Brazil, New Year's Eve is synonymous with Renewal, a tropical celebration that blends music, ritual, and spectacle. The country's extensive coastline, especially in Rio de Janeiro, becomes a stage 4, one of the most visually stunning New Year's events in the world. Beaches fill with revelers dressed predominantly in white, symbolizing peace and renewal. Participants gather at the water's edge, preparing offerings for Ima, the goddess of the sea in Afro-Brazilian religions, as a gesture of respect and hope for blessings in the coming year. Flowers, candles, and floating gifts are sent into the ocean, accompanied by rhythmic drumming and music, creating a sensory-rich ritual of continuity, gratitude, and aspiration. Fireworks illuminate the night sky, merging spiritual practice with communal spectacle, while samba bands and local performers provide a cultural soundtrack that animates the celebration. Moving north to the United States, New Year's Eve embodies both urban spectacle and domestic tradition. In New York City, the famous Times Square ball drop gathers tens of thousands of participants, while millions more watch via live broadcast. The countdown, music performances, and fireworks create a shared temporal climax, uniting audiences across diverse backgrounds. Meanwhile, families across the country observe home-centered rituals, champagne toasts, resolutions, and festive meals. In the southern United States, dishes like Hoppin' John, black-eyed peas, and collard greens symbolize prosperity and good fortune, reflecting both African-American heritage and regional agrarian symbolism. These culinary practices demonstrate how food functions as a cultural medium, embedding hope and intention into taste, preparation, and communal sharing. In Mexico and much of Latin America, New Year's Eve involves symbolic acts designed to attract fortune, health, and love. Similar to Spain, the consumption of 12 grapes at midnight is common, each grape representing a month of the coming year. Other customs include carrying luggage around the block to ensure travel in the new year, or wearing colored clothing to attract specific fortunes, red for love, yellow for prosperity, and white for peace. These acts transform the transition into a performative, participatory ritual, allowing individuals to embody abstract hopes and desires through concrete, culturally coded behaviors. Caribbean nations add a tropical rhythm and vibrant color to New Year's celebrations. Beaches, open-air squares, and streets host live music, dancing, and fireworks. In countries like Cuba and the Dominican Republic, merengue, salsa, and calypso accompany midnight celebrations, creating a multi-sensory environment where rhythm, movement, and social engagement are inseparable from the temporal significance of the holiday. Communities often perform ritualistic gestures for luck, such as sweeping the house, jumping over waves, or preparing specific foods to invite prosperity, connecting cultural memory with spiritual intent. The Americas are notable for blending urban spectacle with intimate domestic practice. Public fireworks and countdown events in cities like Toronto, Miami, Rio de Janeiro, and Buenos Aires offer communal gathering and shared excitement, while family dinners, home rituals, and private performances maintain intergenerational transmission of tradition. These parallel structures of celebration ensure that both civic identity and family cohesion are reinforced, emphasizing the dual public and private nature of the holiday. Music and performance are central throughout the Americas. In Brazil, Afro-Brazilian rhythms and samba form the backbone of reveillance festivities. In the Caribbean, calypso and steel drum ensembles provide musical accompaniment to communal gatherings and beach rituals. In North America, live bands, pop music, and traditional songs mark the countdown. Connecting historical practice with contemporary entertainment, these auditory elements synchronize emotional peaks, reinforce communal identity, and embed memory in a participatory manner. Culinary practice remains vital. From tropical fruits and seafood in Brazil to pork, lentils, and black-eyed peas in other regions, symbolic foods communicate intention and hope. Sharing meals consolidates family and community bonds, while regional diversity highlights the adaptability of tradition. Culinary practices function as both nourishment and cultural pedagogy, teaching younger generations about heritage, symbolism, and ritualized practice. In addition to music, food, and ritual, fireworks and light displays provide a universal signal of transition across the Americas. Cities' large and small coordinate pyrotechnics, often timed precisely with midnight, marking the passage into the new year with brilliance and communal. These visual spectacles, combined with sound and scent, create an immersive, multi-sensory marker of time, reinforcing the symbolic significance of the threshold between years. Superstitions, symbolic acts, and local beliefs further enrich celebrations, whether it is floating offerings in the ocean in Brazil, jumping 7 waves for good luck, or placing coins in shoes for prosperity. These rituals offer tangible means to influence fortune, love, and health. The embodied nature of these actions ensures that individuals are active participants in shaping their destiny, transforming abstract desires into actionable, communal practices. Across the Americas, the diversity of celebration ranging from snow-laden northern cities to sun-soaked southern beaches demonstrates the flexibility and creativity of human ritual. Communities adapt inherited and contemporary practices to local climates, environments, and social structures, ensuring relevance and continuity. Despite differences in form, the emotional core remains the same: anticipation, joy, communal participation, and hope for the future. Ultimately, New Year's Eve in the Americas reflects a fusion of cultural memory, religious symbolism, and festive spectacle, blending indigenous, colonial, and contemporary influences into a cohesive, participatory celebration. From tropical shores to urban centers and snowy streets, the human desire to honor the passage of time, reflect on the past, and aspire to the future manifests in music, ritual, food, fireworks, and social gathering, creating a rich and immersive experience that resonates deeply with participants of all ages and backgrounds. Enjoying the video so far? Then engage with us. Like, share your thoughts in the comments, and follow World Traditions to explore more amazing traditions around the world. Across Asia, New Year's celebrations are among the most diverse and culturally rich in the world, blending centuries-old traditions with modern customs. Unlike the Gregorian New Year, observed on December 31st, many Asian countries celebrate the New Year according to lunar or lunisolar calendars, which usually fall between late January and mid-February. This variation highlights the importance of astronomical observation, agricultural cycles, and spiritual beliefs in marking temporal transitions, emphasizing how humans synchronize celebration with nature and celestial rhythms. In Japan, the New Year, Oroshigatsu, is one of the most significant holidays of the year. Preparations begin well before December 31st, with families cleaning homes in a ritual called osoji, symbolizing the removal of past misfortune and the welcoming of new opportunities. Homes are decorated with kodomatsu, bamboo, and pine arrangements, and semenava sacred rope decorations, signifying prosperity, longevity, and protection from evil spirits. On New Year's Eve, the toshikoshi soba, or year-crossing noodles, are eaten, representing long life and resilience, with the long noodles symbolizing the desire for a long, prosperous year. Temple bells ring 108 times in Japan on New Year's Eve, in a ritual called Joya no Kane, purging participants of worldly desires and spiritual impurities accumulated throughout the year. Families visit shrines on Hatsumed, the first shrine visit of the year, to pray for health, success, and happiness. These practices merge faith, morality, and communal participation, highlighting the spiritual dimension of time's passage. In China, the Lunar New Year, also known as the Spring Festival, is the most important holiday of the year. Preparations include house cleaning, ancestral offerings, and decorating with red symbols, representing luck, happiness, and prosperity. Foods such as jiwazi dumplings symbolize wealth due to their resemblance to gold ingots, while glutinous rice cakes, nyeongao, signify progress and growth. Families gather for reunion dinners, emphasizing the importance of familial bonds, intergenerational respect, and continuity. Lion dances, firecrackers, and fireworks are ubiquitous, designed both to entertain and ward off evil spirits, illuminating the streets with color, sound, and collective energy. Korea celebrates Sialo, the Korean Lunar New Year, with rituals that also blend ancestral reverence and festive celebration. Families perform chari, a ceremonial rite paying respect to ancestors, offering food and drink to honor familial lineage. Traditional games, folk performances, and tiagake rice cake soup are central to the celebration, with each element symbolizing age, prosperity, and pure. The combination of food, ritual, and play reinforces moral values, social cohesion, and intergenerational knowledge. In Vietnam, Tet, the Vietnamese Lunar New Year, combines similar practices with unique cultural expressions. Homes are cleaned, decorated with flowers, and adorned with ancestral altars. Families gather for symbolic meals, offerings, and prayers, while streets are filled with performances, dragon dances, and community activities. Tet emphasizes both spiritual purification and social celebration, balancing the solemnity of ancestor worship with the joy of communal festivity. Across Asia, the preparation for New Year's also incorporates purification rituals, superstitions, and symbolic acts to attract fortune, health, and love. Fireworks, temple visits, and food rituals serve as conduits for hope and intention, transforming abstract desires into tangible practices. Children learn songs, perform dances, and participate in family-centered rituals, ensuring continuity of cultural knowledge and values. Food is an essential thread connecting these diverse celebrations. From Japan's toshikoshe soba to China's dumplings and rice cakes, Korea's rice cake, soup, and Vietnam's ceremonial meals. Culinary practices are imbued with symbolism, historical memory, and communal significance. Meals are prepared and shared in homes, fostering intergenerational participation, teaching practical skills, and embedding moral and cultural lessons. Urban celebrations are as vibrant as domestic rituals. Major cities like Tokyo, Beijing, Seoul, and Hanoi host public festivals, lantern displays, and performances, blending traditional and modern practices. Fireworks, light installations, and cultural performances create immersive environments where residents and tourists participate together, highlighting the social, cultural, and economic dimensions of New Year's celebrations. Music, performance, and storytelling further enhance the sensory and emotional depth of Asian New Year's. Folk songs, ritual chants, drumming, and dance bring communities together, synchronizing celebration with cultural identity and spiritual purpose. Temples, streets, and homes resonate with song, movement, and sound, connecting participants to history, morality, and collective memory. The enduring significance of New Year's celebrations in Asia lies in the integration of spiritual, familial, and communal dimensions. Rituals balance reverence for ancestors and deities with joy, play, and performance. Communities actively participate in both preparation and celebration, ensuring that cultural knowledge is transmitted, adapted, and preserved, from purification rites to culinary symbolism, music, and dance. Each act functions as both a personal and collective affirmation of hope and renewal. Ultimately, Asia demonstrates how New Year's rituals transform time into lived experience, connecting past and future, spirituality and play, domestic and public life, lunar festivals, ancestral rites, symbolic foods, and communal performance converge to create celebrations that are deeply immersive, culturally resonant, and emotionally potent. Whether under the lantern-lit skies of Beijing, the snowy silence of Tokyo, or the vibrant streets of Hanoi, the Asian New Year embodies humanity's universal desire to honor the past, welcome the future, and participate in the shared journey of renewal. Across Africa and the Middle East, New Year's celebrations blend ancestral tradition, religious observance, and communal festivity, creating a season of renewal and shared hope. Despite vast geographic, cultural, and climatic differences, common themes emerge. The use of fire and light to signify transition, music and dance to foster communal cohesion, and family-centered rituals to strengthen social bonds and transmit cultural memory. In Egypt, both the Coptic Orthodox and broader Muslim communities observe the New Year with a combination of religious services, community gatherings, and symbolic food rituals. Coptic Christians often attend midnight mass, reflecting on the passing year while praying for health, prosperity, and spiritual guidance. Families gather to share meals rich in traditional dishes, such as lentils and vegetables, representing abundance and continuity. Fireworks, though a relatively modern addition, illuminate city squares and streets, reinforcing the visual and communal aspect of transition from one year to the next. Music, drumming, and local performance accompany these events, connecting the spiritual, social, and festive elements of the holiday. In Ethiopia, the celebration of the Ethiopian New Year coincides with the end of the rainy season in September and incorporates both religious observance and social festivity. Communities gather in churches for prayers, with children presenting bouquets to elders, symbolizing respect, continuity, and renewal. The exchange of gifts, communal meals, and public singing and dancing create a dynamic participatory environment, allowing individuals to engage with both the spiritual and social dimensions of the season. Traditional music, involving drums and local instruments, enhances emotional resonance, providing rhythm and cohesion for dance and ritual performance. West African nations, Sukas Ghana, celebrate the new year with a combination of ancestral homage, family reunions, and public festivities. Fire and bonfires symbolize purification, protection, and the illumination of the path forward. Drumming and dance are integral, with communal performance serving as both entertainment and cultural pedagogy, teaching moral lessons, history, and social cohesion. Food rituals, including the preparation and sharing of symbolic dishes, reinforce familial bonds and convey wishes for prosperity, health, and good fortune. In the Middle East, countries such as Lebanon, Israel, and Jordan blend religious observance, family-centered meals, and community celebration. In Israel, New Year celebrations for both the civil and Jewish calendar involve family dinners, synagogue services, and public fireworks. In predominantly Muslim nations, celebrations may coincide with local or lunar calendars, incorporating prayer, fasting, charity, and ritualized music. Across the region, the interplay of fire, music, and communal ritual marks both the symbolic and practical transition from the old year to the new, integrating ethical, spiritual, and social dimensions. Fire and light are central across Africa and the Middle East. Bonfires, lanterns, and fireworks are employed to signify the purging of misfortune and the illumination of hope, a practice rooted in both ancient ritual and modern spectacle. Communities gather outdoors, where the visual and auditory drama of fire and sound reinforces collective anticipation. The sensory impact light, heat, and sound creates a shared emotional climax, signaling the precise moment of transition and uniting participants in both space and spirit. Music is deeply woven into the fabric of celebration. Drumming, folk instruments, choral singing, and regional melodies accompany public and private festivities. Children learn songs and dances through participation, integrating cultural knowledge, moral instruction, and communal memory. Music provides both rhythm and structure, enabling the temporal passage to be felt, experienced, and remembered. It functions as a unifying medium, connecting rural and urban communities. Young and old, secular and spiritual practices, culinary traditions reinforce the social and symbolic significance of the holiday. In Egypt, Ethiopia, Ghana, and surrounding regions, families prepare special dishes, often linked to abundance, fertility, or spiritual blessing. Meals are shared across extended family networks, emphasizing community cohesion, gratitude, and the reinforcement of social bonds. Culinary symbolism, whether in the form of legumes, grains, or ceremonial bread, embodies human hope for prosperity and stability, translating abstract aspiration into tangible experience. Superstitions and symbolic gestures are interwoven with ritual and festivity. Participants may light candles for protection, offer gifts to elders or the poor, or engage in music and dance believed to repel evil spirits. These acts provide embodied mechanisms for influencing fortune and blessing, reinforcing the moral and spiritual dimensions of the celebration while engaging participants in active, participatory ritual. Modern celebrations in Africa and the Middle East blend ancient tradition with contemporary spectacle. Urban centers host fireworks, concerts, and televised events that bring communities together, while rural areas maintain intimate, home-centered practices. Media and tourism amplify the reach of New Year SAO, preserving cultural identity while allowing global audiences to engage with localized rituals. Despite regional and cultural diversity, New Year celebrations across Africa and the Middle East share central themes: family, community, ritual, music, and symbolic action. The interplay of fire, sound, food, and participation transforms abstract temporal transition into meaningful, lived experience, grounding human aspiration in sensory, communal, and moral practice. These celebrations demonstrate the capacity of ritual to unify, educate, and inspire across generations and geographies. Ultimately, Africa and the Middle East exemplify how New Year's Eve can combine spiritual reverence, cultural continuity, and communal festivity. From family meals and ancestral homage to fireworks and dance, the season becomes a living expression of hope, renewal, and human connection, highlighting the universality of human desire to mark the passage of time with both joy and intention. Across deserts, savannas, cities, and mountains, the human impulse to celebrate, reflect, and aspire is rendered tangible, vibrant, and unforgettable. Around the world, New Year's Eve is not only a time for celebration, reflection, and communal gathering, it is also a period rich in superstition, ritual, and symbolic acts designed to attract good fortune, health, love, and prosperity. Across continents and cultures, these practices blend practical, playful, and spiritual elements, allowing participants to embody their hopes and intentions through tangible, performative action. In Europe, superstition and ritual are deeply embedded in New Year's observance. In Spain, eating 12 grapes at midnight symbolizes the desire for good luck in each month of the coming year. Timing is critical. 1 grape per chime of the clock requires precision, patience, and communal coordination. Italy emphasizes lentils and pork, the former representing wealth due to their coin-like shape, the latter symbolizing progress, abundance, and forward momentum. Germany practices lead pouring Blechingen, where molten lead is dripped into cold water, and the resulting shapes interpreted to predict the coming year, demonstrating the fusion of folk divination and festive celebration. Across the Americas, superstition manifests in diverse and colorful practices. In Brazil, participants jump 7 waves at the beach, honoring Imania, the goddess of the sea, and symbolically cleansing themselves while invoking protection and luck. Latin American countries often wear colored underwear on New Year's Eve to attract specific blessings. Red for love, yellow for prosperity, and white for peace. In the southern United States, traditions like eating hoppin', a dish of black-eyed peas, promote wealth, while domestic rituals such as burning effigies or symbolic papers release misfortune and invite renewal. Asia features a rich array of superstitions and ritualized acts. In Japan, houses are thoroughly cleaned before the new year in a purification practice called osoji, removing spiritual and physical clutter. In China, hanging red decorations, giving red envelopes, and performing lion dances embody a blend of protection, luck, and joy. Korea Sialo emphasizes ancestor worship and symbolic foods, while in Vietnam, Tet involves cleaning, decorating, and performing specific acts to ensure health, wealth, and familial harmony. Across Asia, symbolic food, color, and ritualized movement transform intangible hopes into embodied acts of intention. In Africa and the Middle East, superstition and ritual serve both protective and aspirational functions. In Ghana, families light bonfires, perform symbolic dances, and engage in communal song, invoking ancestral blessings and repelling misfortune. In Egypt and Ethiopia, symbolic meals, music, and light play central roles in ensuring continuity, luck, and communal cohesion. Fire, as both a literal and symbolic agent, is used widely to represent purification, illumination, and the dispelling of evil spirits. Across all regions, common patterns emerge. The integration of action, symbolism, and social participation, whether through food, clothing, fire, song, or movement. People enact their desires for the future in performative, participatory ways. These rituals are often passed down orally and through practice, ensuring that moral, cultural, and social knowledge is transmitted across generations. Children and adults alike engage, blending fun with ethical and spiritual lessons. Fireworks serve as a global tool of superstition and spectacle. Beyond entertainment, the bright lights, booming sounds, and collective awe are traditionally thought to ward off evil and invite positive energy. from Sydney Harbor to Rio de Janeiro, Times Square, and Tokyo. Fireworks function as both social and spiritual markers, demonstrating the intersection of community, belief, and visual spectacle. Many cultures also incorporate numerology, color symbolism, and spatial rituals. In Spain and Latin America, 12 grapes or coins symbolize months and prosperity. In Japan and China, cleaning, eating specific foods, and giving gifts align with ideas of purity, luck, and moral preparation. First footing in Scotland, the practice of welcoming the first visitor after midnight emphasizes social bonds, reputation, and symbolic prosperity, illustrating how superstition enforces cultural norms and ethical behavior alongside ritual. Urbanization and globalization have expanded both the visibility and hybridization of these practices. Television, online streaming, and social media broadcast local rituals worldwide, blending local superstition with global spectacle. Communities in diaspora observe traditional practices while incorporating local or popular elements, creating hybrid rituals that reinforce identity and continuity in an increasingly interconnected world. Despite variation in form and symbolism, the essence of New Year's superstitions and lucky charms remains constant. They provide tangible means to express hope, invoke protection, and structure moral and social expectations. These practices transform an abstract moment in time the transition between years into a rich, participatory, and emotionally resonant experience, allowing individuals and communities to engage actively with their cultural heritage. In conclusion, superstitions and lucky charms worldwide demonstrate that human societies instinctively link action, symbolism, and aspiration in rituals that mark the passage of time, from grapes, lentils, and rice cakes to colored clothing, fire, and ceremonial music. These practices reflect universal desires for luck, health, prosperity, and connection, ensuring that the new year is celebrated not only with spectacle, but with intention, meaning, and shared cultural identity. As midnight approaches on December 31st, cities around the world erupt into a spectacular display of light, sound, and communal excitement, transforming the abstract passage of time into an immersive, shared experience. Fireworks, illuminated streets, music, and countdowns unite populations both urban and rural, reflecting the universal human desire to celebrate, connect, and welcome the new year. Some of the most iconic locations: Rio de Janeiro, Sydney, Times Square in New York, London, and Dubai host globally recognized events that combine civic pride, tourism, and centuries-old traditions into highly choreographed public spectacles. In Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, the New Year's Eve celebration, known as Renewal, takes place on Copacabana Beach and attracts millions of participants annually. Attendees, predominantly dressed in white to symbolize peace and spiritual renewal, gather along the coastline where they sing, dance, and participate in offerings to Imania, the goddess of the sea in Afro-Brazilian religion. Lanterns, candles, and flowers are sent into the waves as gifts to the deity, symbolizing hope, gratitude, and protection for the coming year. Simultaneously, synchronized fireworks illuminate the sky, choreographed to music and rhythmic drumming. The combination of ritual, music, cultural symbolism, and spectacle ensures that the event is both spiritually significant and visually unforgettable, fostering deep communal participation. Sydney, Australia, hosts one of the largest and most meticulously planned New Year celebrations globally. The pyrotechnic display over the Sydney Harbour Bridge and Opera House is broadcast worldwide, incorporating lasers, projection mapping, and music. Fireworks explode in precisely timed sequences, highlighting architectural landmarks and reflecting in the harbour waters below. Beyond visual grandeur, the event reinforces social cohesion and civic identity, drawing locals and international tourists into a collective experience that blends festivity with awe-inspiring spectacle. In the United States, New Year's Eve is epitomized by the Times Square ball drop in New York City. Thousands of spectators gather to witness the descent of the illuminated ball, while thousands more watch via live broadcast, music performances, interactive light displays, and synchronized fireworks accompany the countdown, transforming a single city square into a global focal point for temporal transition. This event exemplifies the integration of urban infrastructure, technology, and human anticipation into a shared ritual. London, United Kingdom, celebrates with a combination of public fireworks along the Thames and private, family-centered traditions. The iconic display, centered near the London Eye, is complemented by music, lights, and community gatherings. Attendees and television audiences participate simultaneously in a shared temporal and cultural moment, linking individual anticipation to collective experience. Fireworks are timed to chime with Big Ben, blending civic tradition, history, and communal celebration. Dubai, United Arab Emirates, has transformed New Year's Eve into a spectacle of modern grandeur, leveraging advanced technology, architecture, and urban planning. Skyscrapers, particularly the Burj Khalifa, become canvases for synchronized light shows and fireworks, creating immersive visuals that attract tourists and residents alike. These displays highlight the fusion of global spectacle with local identity, showcasing the city's innovation while engaging participants in a shared emotional and aesthetic experience. Other cities across Asia, Europe, Africa, and Latin America incorporate regional variations of fireworks, music, and public celebration, often blending modern pyrotechnics with traditional rituals. In Japan, temple bells ring 108 times, symbolically cleansing negative energy, while fireworks accompany urban festivities. In Spain and Italy, fireworks complement communal gatherings and symbolic foods, creating a multi-sensory experience that links temporal transition with cultural practice. Fireworks serve both practical and symbolic purposes. They act as visual markers of temporal passage, creating a climactic moment precisely at midnight, while historically believed to ward off evil spirits and attract prosperity. The interplay of light, color, sound, and movement engages participants on multiple sensory levels, enhancing emotional intensity and reinforcing communal cohesion. From tropical beaches to snowy city squares, the collective awe experience during these displays transcends geography and culture. The participatory nature of these celebrations ensures intergenerational engagement. Children, adults, and elders all share the experience of watching, counting down, singing, and celebrating, fostering social bonds and cultural continuity. Music, song, and synchronized action, such as raising glasses or throwing confetti, complement the fireworks, embedding ritual, anticipation, and communal memory into the experience. Urban spectacle often intersects with private and domestic celebration, reinforcing multiple layers of human connection, while large public events attract tourists and create national or global media attention. Smaller, family-centered practices, dinners, toasts, prayers, or local fireworks ensure that personal reflection, gratitude, and ethical intention accompany public spectacle. This duality illustrates the human need to balance community engagement with intimate observance, ensuring the new year is experienced fully on both personal and collective levels. Ultimately, global fireworks and iconic celebrations embody the universality of temporal transition and human hope. They transform the abstract concept of time into a shared, tangible, and emotionally potent experience. Across continents, the combination of visual spectacle, music, ritual, and communal participation allows people to celebrate the end of one year and the beginning of another with intention, joy, and a profound sense of connection. Fireworks, music, and collective countdowns serve not only as entertainment, but as ritualized affirmation of hope, renewal, and unity, illuminating skies and hearts simultaneously. From the tropical shores of Brazil to the architectural wonders of Dubai, from Times Square to Sydney Harbor, the global language of fireworks and celebration transcends cultural boundaries, uniting humanity in a single moment of awe and anticipation. In this shared experience, the past is honored, the future anticipated, and the present fully embraced, demonstrating that across diverse environments and societies, the new year is a collective performance of hope, joy, and human resilience. As the clocks strike midnight around the globe, New Year Eve becomes more than just a moment on the calendar. It transforms into a powerful expression of human hope, continuity, and aspiration. Across continents, communities of every size, climate, and culture engage in rituals that symbolize renewal, protection, prosperity, and unity. From the tropical beaches of Brazil to the snow-laden plazas of Europe, the anticipation of a new year is universally marked by a combination of symbolic acts, music, communal gathering, and reflection. One of the central themes of global celebrations is communal participation. Across Europe, families and friends gather to share symbolic foods, such as grapes in Spain, lentils in Italy, and oliebollen in the Netherlands, reinforcing social bonds while transmitting cultural knowledge across generations. In Asia, rituals such as Japan's temple bell ringing, Joya no Kane, or Korea's ancestral offerings during Seollal connect individuals to moral and spiritual frameworks, embedding ethical reflection into celebratory practice. In Africa and the Middle East, bonfires, music, and communal dancing similarly unify participants, offering both protection from misfortune and a shared sense of social cohesion. Food functions as both sustenance and symbolic gesture worldwide. Culinary traditions are deeply intertwined with hope and intention, allowing individuals to translate abstract wishes into tangible, participatory acts. From Brazil's tropical dishes and offerings to Imanya, to China's dumplings and rice cakes, meals are ritualized expressions of aspiration, emphasizing prosperity, health, and social continuity. Preparing and sharing these foods reinforces intergenerational learning, cultural memory, and familial bonds. Music and performance play a similarly universal role. Folk songs, modern pop, ceremonial chants, and rhythmic drumming provide auditory markers of time and transition, heightening anticipation and emotional engagement. In Latin America, samba and calypso rhythms accompany beach rituals, while in Europe, carols and festive songs synchronize with the midnight countdown. Music connects communities, reinforces collective memory, and ensures active participation, transforming the abstract moment of temporal change into a tangible, shared experience. Fireworks and light displays provide a visual and emotional climax to celebrations worldwide. From Sydney's iconic harbor fireworks to Dubai's skyscraper illuminations, Times Square's ball drop, and village bonfires in Africa, these displays are both spectacle and ritualistic signal, marking the transition from one year to the next. Fire, light, and sound function as symbols of protection, purification, and optimism, illuminating the darkness while engaging participants in a multi-sensory communal ritual. Superstitions and lucky charms further connect diverse practices across cultures, whether wearing colored underwear in Latin America, jumping waves in Brazil, or performing first footing in Scotland. These acts provide tangible participation in the metaphysical hopes of the new year. Across Asia, Europe, Africa, and the Americas, symbolic gestures such as offering coins, grains, or sweets translate abstract wishes into embodied action, making the passage of time active, participatory, and meaningful. Modern technology and globalization have amplified these rituals, creating hybrid celebrations that merge traditional practices with contemporary spectacle. Televised fireworks, live streaming of religious ceremonies, and social media coverage allow diaspora communities to participate in cultural rituals far from home, while urban centers integrate ancient customs with modern infrastructure, creating inclusive, adaptive celebrations that honor both tradition and innovation. Despite regional and cultural variation, universal patterns emerge. The marking of time with light, sound, food, music, and ritual, the desire for renewal and protection, and the reinforcement of social bonds. Whether through intimate family dinners, festive street gatherings, or massive urban spectacles, humans collectively enact hope, aspiration, and continuity, transforming the abstract concept of a new year into a rich, multi-sensory, and culturally embedded experience. The enduring significance of New Year's celebrations lies in their ability to connect individual reflection with collective aspiration. Through shared rituals, people honor the past, celebrate the present, and anticipate the future. They transmit cultural values, teach moral lessons, and reinforce communal cohesion, from ancestral offerings in Asia to symbolic foods in Europe, from festive music in Latin America to fire rituals in Africa. The practices of the New Year embody universal human desires for prosperity, health, love, and unity. Ultimately, New Year's Eve around the world demonstrates that while methods and customs differ, the underlying human impulse is universal: to mark the passage of time with intention, joy, and communal participation. Across continents, cultures, and climates, people celebrate not merely a calendar date, but the shared human experience of transition, hope, and renewal, illuminating both the night and the heart with collective anticipation for what lies ahead. If you enjoyed the video, help us keep the channel going. Like, share your thoughts, and follow World Traditions so we can keep showcasing traditions from around the world.